Hey folks, Michael McGee here. In today's video, I want to utilize some things I have on hand to blacken traps, hopefully cure my poison ivy, and hopefully worm some hogs. We cut down some big old trees as you saw in the last video. They had big poison ivy. I got it. I mean, it's eating me up. Also, I'd like to blacken the traps since we cut down that hickory tree that's got green leaves on it. Half the tree was dead, the other half was alive. I'm going to try to do that today. In blackening traps, a lot of times we use just regular city water, but today I'm going to use spring water. In the old Hawbaker trapping guide, when he talks about blackening traps, he said always use fresh creek water, spring water, or something along that line. In my opinion, it ain't that important, but I've got it, so let's use it. It would take forever to fill it up that way, but right here, I don't drink out of the tank right here because this water isn't as clean as what's coming out of the spigot. But look at that. And there's 3 buckets of water. All right, we got to get a little firewood and we got to get our blackening trap pot and our traps. And here is a lot of traps that need to be blackened. I don't even know if I can blacken all these with the size pot I've got, but we're going to see. That's a lot of traps. Wow. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Lots of traps. I'm not going to necessarily worry about the dog-proof ones because raccoons don't care. And I think that'll be it. All right, we just had some friends that came down from out of state, brought us these Bridger traps. They've been touched up with a little bit of rust. I'm gonna throw them in as well. And I'm gonna throw in some of my old Dukes that I bought years ago and some new Dukes that I bought recently. And I'm gonna throw them on in with the chain and everything. We've got more traps, but I don't know how many more is going to fit in there, so I'm just picking out the ones that I like the best, the ones I use the most and the boys use a lot. This one here is a dandy trap. I'm going to take it along. Can I get it off the nail? Wow. There we go. All right, let's go get the pot. Up. They're too small. They don't fit. The metal one fits. I'm just gonna lock it down on. I think we got some green ones from oh, there you go. Green ones. That will save the day. Thank you very much. This is where the hickory came down. All those hickory tops are right here, and there's a lot of good blackening. I think this is where we need to set up, and we need to just have some fun today. All right, for my first layer of traps, I'm gonna take the ones that Lance and Liam brought us from out of state. I'm gonna lay them on that nice bed of leaves at the bottom, right at the bottom of the bowl where it curves around. And I'm gonna set them up here with the jaws facing up, just like that. And then I'm gonna take more leaves and throw in on there. And being that it's hickory, it does have some hickory nuts. Hickory nuts will cook down and make a very black water as well. It's going to be great. A lot of times we use black walnut hulls, just like I used in that previous video you recently saw about the parasite cleanse. That's also a very good combination for trap blackening. So we're just going to pull these up here. These leaves have already started wilting. You can see that plainly. But they still have a ton of tannic acid in them, and that is what we're using. If you're a chemist, you know probably what we're doing. We are using tannic acid in this water to blacken these traps, because tannic acid and steel have a chemical reaction, especially rusty steel. The rust on the steel helps it adhere. So when you're blackening traps, you want them to be a little rusty. The rusty ones are the ones that blacken better. They look great after you're done. So I'm gonna finish this up. I'm gonna keep layering these traps. I hope I get them all in. There's a ton of them. I'm gonna try to fit as much leaves in there as possible before I pour my water. And I'm gonna have the leaves all intertwined into those traps. Sounds like a fun day to me. Let's do it. And here we've got a piece of hickory bark. I want you to look how thick that bark is. That's almost 3/4. It's over 1/2 inch right there. Unbelievable. We got poison ivy on it. Oh my goodness. I don't need poison ivy more than I've got it already. It's eating up my fingers, especially in between there, causing them to swell up really bad. But I believe that this hickory bark, I've never used hickory bark before. I've used maple bark. I believe that'll work. I believe that'll be good for it. The problem is I've got it so deep it may not cover. That may cover right there. It's time to add water. Oh, I hope this is enough. I hope I don't have to go back for more, but if I do, I will. No biggie. I'm glad my wife had those lids handy to save a lot of this from getting sloshed out. There's that bucket full. Uh-oh, there's that bucket full. I don't think it's gonna cover. Nope, I see water though. So I'm gonna go fill actually all 3 of these back up again and bring them, because throughout the day I may need to add some water. You don't want it to steam down and get below the trap level. I want to fill this baby up, not just barely cover it. So I'll get the water and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I got some more water. I do believe this is going to be enough this time. Let's hope. Oh yeah. We're going to have an extra bucket, actually, looks like to me. And that's not a bad thing, because we may need it later today. But I'm going to fill it plumb up. We're setting crooked. This side is downhill. But the traps are well below the surface, even this piece of bark. And I have a little more here yet. So I like that. I'm going to move it because it might get some heat from the fire that we're fixing to build. Before it gets hot, I'm going to wash my hands off. There we go. All right. I'm going to build a fire real quick. Get this thing heating up. I wonder if I could sink this side down and level it out. Oh my goodness, yes. Yes. Okay. Good deal. I just don't want it tilting worse. All right. Building this fire. I already know some of y'all are going to think I am cheating something fierce. I don't care. I'll cheat. I'm not here to teach fire building skills. I'm well aware that the day may come that there may not be access to cigarette lighters, lighter fluid, and the like. I know that quite well. But I ain't worried about that. I'm not going to live my life today struggling to barely get by. No, I want fire. I want fire now. And you're about to see, I shall have it. There's another question in your mind. Maybe, why did McGee bring firewood out in the woods when he's got a huge stack of firewood out here already? I'll address that here in a second. Let's get this fire going. See this cedar right here? My boys have recently built some things for their mother out of cedar. They used the sawmill to mill it up. And these are the scraps. It's not necessarily the driest wood on earth, so they just milled it out of logs. But it will get going. Cedar doesn't have as much internal moisture as some types of wood. One thing you might notice is David rigged up this metal surround all the way around the two sides of a round pot. That really helps contain the heat and keep it right here instead of the heat going out. Here in a second, we'll talk about how long we're going to boil these traps. Actually, we're not really going to boil them hard. We're just going to kind of steam them. We'll talk about that. This here has been drying half the summer last summer and all winter, and half the summer this summer, because this summer's half gone. So, and it's black pine, and it burns really good. Burns hot. It's not a trash wood by any stretch of the imagination. Give it a little more accelerant. All right, I'm going to address your question. Why in the world did I bring this wood out here when I got firewood piled up out here? That wood just got cut down, partially live and partially dead, but still green as a gourd. There is a huge difference between dry wood and unseasoned wood. You can ask Longbow Banjo that. Dry wood, green wood. There's a big difference. He knows. Tons of these green leaves laying around. I didn't even use all the ones off that one big limb that I was using, and I got this pot fairly full. I may add some more to this as it boils down. I may add some more to it, but for right now it's good. But you take a piece of green wood and you put it in there and try to burn it, it'll take all of the dry wood around it to cause it to burn. It's not going to create much heat. It's going to just be a net zero, basically speaking. Not 100%. It will, once it dries out and starts burning, yes, it'll create some heat. But it's not going to be a pure, good burn like this, a clean burn. And I need a clean burn because I want this water to get hot. It takes a lot of heat to get, I've probably got 20 to 25 gallons of water in that pot right now. It takes a lot of heat to get that much water hot enough to cook those leaves. You've got to get the leaves cooked. Not boiled hard, but you've got to steam them really good and hot. Too hot really to put your hand in. Now, just because I don't use that green wood for my primary heat on there doesn't mean once my water gets to that temperature where it's hot enough and I just want to maintain it, I might throw one of these green pieces in on top of all that to just help maintain a balanced, steady heat. Something slow, something low. I'm not going to put myself in a box and say I'm not going to do that. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to be working on myself in this video. Once I get a fire going good enough to make some coals, I'm going to get me some cedar, some green cedar, and I'm going to treat my poison ivy. It's driving me nuts. I've already done 2 treatments. One was 2 days ago during the day. The second treatment I gave myself in the middle of the night last night at 1:30 in the morning. I couldn't sleep because of it. Driving me crazy. And I already had a fire in the stove outside. I have that fire going 24/7 pretty much. And it's not blazing, it's not actively blazing, but it had coals ready to go. When I was ready to go, I was ready to go. So I put a little bit of wood in there and got it going, and I put my red cedar greens in there. I've got an entire video dedicated to my quest to cure poison ivy. I learned how to do it through my mechanic, and he learned it through another old man that wrote a book. I can't bring up his name right now in my brain. But anyway, learned it, and I need that knowledge. I've got to put that knowledge to practice today. All right, it's been exactly 35 minutes since we built this fire and got it going good. This water is actually turning black. Too hot to touch. That right there is where I'd like to keep it. I don't want it boiling, actively bubbling. I just want it too hot to touch. And that steam coming off tells me, oh, it's choking me. That steam coming off of there tells me what I need to know. So I'm gonna take a big old piece of this pine that's round. I'm gonna throw it in there, right in the middle of it. Because we want to maintain this temperature. As I said earlier, I'm gonna shock you. I'm gonna take a piece of this green hickory and throw it in there. That's for longevity. Longevity, long live the king. Throw a piece of small little green in there. And then take this dry, put it right there like that. That right there is set for some time. I won't have to touch that again for a while. I'm gonna pour a little bit of water in. Just touch up my water supply just enough. And I may take this bucket and gather up some more leaves and poke down in there. I'd like to see that become more potent. One thing I've noticed over the years, these post oak leaves like this right here, thick and dark and heavy green, they're loaded with tannic acid. They will blacken traps beautifully, green or brown, but I like the green ones because they've got it all in there. Every time it rains, it leaches more out. So the greener, the better. All right, I found me some really nice green hickory leaves, among other types, but my woods are loaded with these young little hickory saplings, and they have bigger leaves than the big adult. Boy, that choke's smoking me. They have bigger leaves than the big adult trees, and therefore more tannins. So I'm gonna dump this in there and get that all stirred in, and we'll let that start cooking down. In case you can't tell, this is a fun job for me. Making a tea, basically. Oh yeah. That's gonna be some dark water. The blacker the better, let me tell you. The blacker the better. Alrighty. It's getting a little hot. A little hotter than I intended for it to get. So, I'm gonna pour some cold water in, cool it back down a little bit. Let that cold water sink down in there and talk to it a little bit. That's better right there. I'm gonna pull this one piece of wood out. When you separate the firewood under there, it tends to cool off a little bit. They really like to be piled on top of each other. All right, I'm gonna gather up some cedar real quick to do my poison ivy treatment. I'll call it a treatment. It is as good of a natural remedy as I have found. I've had poison ivy so bad back in the past where I would have to go get pills from the doctor. They gave me prednisone. You start out by taking a certain amount, like 8, and then every day after that you take one less. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you're done. That works, it clears it right up. But I have found that this here really helps. It fixed me up last night when I was in absolute misery. This is red cedar. It's an eastern cedar, it's not the western cedar. what we've got to do is get enough to where it can smother that fire, and that fire has to work to burn through it. It creates a lot of smoke. The smoke is what you're after. There is a lot of oil in this smoke. The oil and the smoke is what you're after, and something about the heat as that fire gets hotter, and it's almost like you feel like you're scratching that itch, and that fire scratches it for you, and you don't have to deal with the consequences that you have to deal with if you actually scratch it. Scratching it will make it blossom and flourish. And I don't mean in a good way. But the fire and the smoke, they're just like, ah. Let's take this and let's go get us a piece of fire and let's give ourselves a treatment. All right, this has been going for about 3 hours and it is at the perfect simmer. And at this point, I'm just gonna let the fire do what it's gonna do, basically die out. I'm gonna pull some of that fire out and take care of my poison ivy riddled hands and arms. And this can just cool off slowly. It'll sit here all night and just cool down. And then in the morning, early, I'll build the fire, get it back up steaming, and that's it. It don't have to do it for no hour or 2 or 3 like this. Just get it hot, and then I'll walk away. Then when I come back, it will be cold, it'll be black, it'll be beautiful, and we are gonna have fun digging them out. All right, if you've got poison ivy, here's what you do. Get you some fire. These here are nice hot coals, just ready to do business. You don't want a very big fire or else you won't create smoke. You'll just catch your cedar on fire. It's gonna catch on fire eventually, but what you wanna do is smother that down and create this right here. Create this thick smoke, and you're gonna put whatever, hopefully it's on your hands or arms, whatever it is, and that's already very hot. It's not gonna take long for this to start wanting to flame up, and I'm gonna show you what to do when it starts trying to flame up. This cedar oil is what we're after, and it's in there. I can feel it. It's making my hands wet already. Look at that. That is beautiful, beautiful smoke. And I've got the poison ivy all the way up my arms here. I'll go ahead and get them doctored up. Beautiful. That is beautiful. It's just billows of smoke. In between my middle fingers is where the majority of my problem is at. It's getting hot enough, I've got to raise my hands up a little higher. I'm fixing to have to slow it down. It's fixing to break into flames. In order to slow it down, you just take it and just turn it a little bit. Give it a little twist. Put some fresh greenery on them coals. That'll slow it down. It'll prolong the smoke. That is some really good looking smoke. Look at that. Wow. The guy that wrote the book about how to do this said you do it until your arm is as red as a turkey's snood. That's how he described how red you want your arm to get. That's pretty red. And you got to have heat, not just smoke, to get red like that. So, and as I said before, it feels like you're scratching that itch. Man alive, it feels good. You're gonna smell like smoke though. cedar smoke. It's a little different smelling smoke. It's just not any smoke. It's a very distinct smoke. I can't even see the camera. Smoke is coming out so thick. Gonna roll it again. Give it another twist. In between my fingers, just driving me nuts. And you can't scratch it or it'll just blossom, man. Unreal. It'll bloom. And that's not good. Ah. Oh, that is. Whew. Man. Look how wet my hands look. Moisture and oils coming out of the cedar. About time to slow it down. It's about to get out of control. All right, I'm just gonna leave this cedar laying here. In the morning when I build my fire to heat this up, I may need me some. I might need to re-smoke myself. All right, that's that. I'll see you early in the morning right here, and we'll reheat this water. Until then, this is going to be slowly cooling down. It's going to soak that tannin, those tannins, I should say, the tannins in the water that turned it black are going to be working on that steel all night, working on that rust.
And good morning. It is 6 o'clock in the morning the next day. It is a beautiful, beautiful morning. And my traps are looking good, nice black. Those leaves. We probably need to add a little bit of water before we get the fire going again. It looks like I still may have some coals under there because of that green hickory burning so slowly. It basically went out. But I've still got my lighter fluid, so even if it's out, I'll jump start it. That's perfect.
All right, I'm gonna let that water heat up. I don't really want it to come to a rolling boil. It probably won't, but either way, I'm gonna let it heat up and then that's it. Once it gets warm or hot, once it gets hot, too hot to touch, fire goes out and it has all day today to cool off. And this afternoon, if the water's cool or cold, I'm gonna dip them traps out and show you how black they are. And I am going to dip out that black water and those black leaves, and I'm gonna take them to the pigs and see if they'll eat them and drink that water, because if they will, it will worm them. And so I'm gonna let this fire get going good, and I'm gonna smoke myself again. That poison ivy is a bad case, and I mean it itches. And sometimes with the cedar smoke, you have to do it repeatedly a few times, but it will absolutely knock that poison ivy down and hopefully out. I think what it does is it subdues it until it runs its course. Whatever the case may be, it works, because it'll drive you nuts scratching. If you ever give in to the temptation to scratch it, it'll get you. It ain't like a chigger or a mosquito bite. It will absolutely multiply like crazy. So anyway, I'll see you after a while and we will get them traps out of there. All right, it's the next morning, pretty early. The sun has not yet risen over the horizon, but it is almost. That beautiful fog on these late summer mornings is absolutely gorgeous. And the cooler temperatures make you think maybe today won't be 93, but it will be. So I'm getting done early while I can. Now, we got the blackest old beautiful gumbo here you've ever seen. Still smells wonderful. It smells like tea. So I'm going to start digging these traps out and see what we've got. I let these traps sit in this water a full 24 hours since I saw you last. So maybe not necessary, but I like to do it. There's an argument could be made that it's helpful. Let's see how black these traps are. I can feel traps right away. These are some of the small ones. Look at that. Yes, sir, buddy. I mean, all the way down the chain. This is the anchor where you drive it in the ground. I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. Now, I'll take them and I'll hang them up wet like this, and that residue will also dry on them, and that's going to help a lot as well. That residue, you could literally scrub that off somewhat if you really scrubbed. We don't want it off, we want it to stay on. So I'm gonna take them out, I'm gonna load them up and haul them back to the boys' trapping shack and get them hung up. And I think we're great. All right, that's it. No more traps. And this is the portion of the video where I get to say, ha ha, I told you so. Look at these new traps. These are the traps that Lance and Liam came and brought us from out of state. They had little small patches of rust, but not much. Most of it was shiny. I don't know if I even said it in today's video. It might have been the other day when they were here. I said, you actually want them rusty if you want them black. Now, here's the thing. You only really need the rusty parts to be blackened because it stops that rust and protects your trap. If the rest is shiny, that's okay. They're going to be buried under the ground. They will work to perfection anyway. It's not that the animals are going to see it and get spooked. But what do you think is going to happen to that shiny brand new steel underground for 2 or 3 months through all types of weather? They're going to rust. And that is when the blackening will take hold next year. Thanks to those fine folks, these will be put under the ground by the McGee boys and hopefully catch some animals. If we can, we'll show you. Now it's time for me to put this over there and start digging out these leaves. I want to try to deworm my pigs with these leaves and this black water. Let's do it. All right, here's my buckets that I used when I brought the water initially. I'm gonna try to get these leaves packed down in one of them. I want to show you that big piece of hickory bark that came off of the tree we cut. Look at that. I am quite sure that it added to the tannins. It really made a contribution to the blackening of these traps. That is amazing. If I could have had it busted up in smaller pieces, it probably would have given more to the effort, but it did superb. Superb. Look at that black gold. I'm just going to keep fishing that out of here. We'll see if the pigs will eat it. Hopefully they will. But if not, it'll be even better if they drink this black water because it's concentrated with the goodness that was at one time in these leaves. There are also hickory nuts, which I can show you right here. The boiling process softened up that outer shell and extracted some tannins from it. Here's the inner shell right here. This particular type of hickory nut is called pig nut. Why? I think because pigs love them. And so at the very least, they'll dig through and get the nuts out of this. But I'm excited to see what's going to take place. I'm going to finish this up real quick and we're going to get to the pig pen. try something good. Here. Let's try this. Try some of this. Oh, they're eating it. Is that good? Yeah? Yummy. Yummy. They said you better believe it's good. They will not eat something that's bad for them. So, go ahead and worm itself, kiddos. Get him some more. Big bite. Big bite. Big Daddy has spotted us. Hey, big guy. He's by far bigger than any of these. Are you gonna come? You gonna come take what's yours? I kind of thought you might. I kind of thought you might. They're already backing off. Well, he needs to be wormed too, I reckon. I'll try to give him some over there. Look here, big guy. You can eat there. You don't have to come take theirs. They said, we'll take his. He's a biggin'. I'm guessing him to be about 600. These are Mangalitsa pigs, if you're wondering why so hairy. And this ain't even hairy. These guys have shed. They'll be way, way thicker furred come winter. But Mangalitsa, they're an old breed from Hungary. A lard breed that has a very good red meat. And that's what we raise mainly. Now let's take some to some other pigs and see how they like them. Here's some young little wieners that we have them in here. We castrated them and they're wild. They have not been handled much. And you might say, well, yeah, if you castrated me, I'd be wild too. Well, yeah. Look at that, he's getting with it. He said, I need worming. You look like you need worming, you little rat. That's actually a little female. She's not got much size on her. But I'll back out here and they'll eat it. I'm gonna throw some back here for these guys. I got some behind. There you go. Have at it, kiddos. Eat till you buzz. Look at them babies. Look at them. Look at them babies. Cute little rascals. Come on over here and eat some of your tube, little buggers. They'll eat them when they don't know I'm here looking. Yep, buddy. I can't figure out what's going on over here. We've got another brand new litter of babies over here. Whoa. Folks, I am loaded with pigs, piglets, hogs, all manner of pork. Oh my goodness. Hey guys, how's it going? Y'all want to try some goodies? Look here. Here you go, kids. Eat it up. How's that? Is that good? They're just chomping down on it. This here's my big boar. Let's see if he'll drink some of this black oil. It looks like oil, it's so black. That's actually more potent than the leaves. Let's see what they do with that. Here, you want some? You want some? I don't have a small pot for them out here, because if you give a pig a small pot, they just flip it and knock it and go yonder with it. They don't even eat what you give them. You want some? I'll pour it out for you. Here. All right. This pen belongs to Jacob and his running mate. I'm gonna dump the water out into that puddle, and I'm gonna replace it with this black gold. They can drink the water out of the mud puddle, and they will, but they'll also drink this black gold. They need to be wormed as well. They're gonna be our feeders. They're the ones we're gonna be eating this fall. So a good worming will do them good. They're not coming right up here too quick, because they've got all they want out there. I mean, they have been feasting ever since we put them out there last week. So they ain't hurting. There's even corn plants growing here. They haven't even eaten them. They've been eating stuff they like better, I guess. All right, I'm not gonna be pouring this in their good water here, but they got a puddle down here that holds water. It's all heavy red clay. Come on, Piggy. They all ran away. They said McGee is a meat eater, and we don't trust him. Let's see how this does. There you go, Mama. Try that on for size.
I think he's drinking some of it. Oh yeah, he's drinking it. I mean, if I was you, I'd go around to the downhill side, but hey, whatever floats your boat, dude. Boiling in that black gold.
All right, I'm gonna unload this, get it ready for the boys. They do their blackening right here. They've still got a pretty good pile of traps that did not fit in this particular batch. They don't mind. They enjoy blackening traps about as much as I do. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna put away what few traps I have here. As you see clearly, the boys have a lot more traps than I do. And I mean a lot more traps than I do, but that's good. That does not bother me one bit. That makes me happy. I got 5 traps here. They all nice and black. I mean, nice. I'm looking forward to trapping some stuff. You know, in all my trail camera pictures, I got cameras all over my property over there. Not one video or photo of a coyote at all. Lots of good turkeys, lots of good deer. I think it's working. I'm gonna gather up these ones that came from Lance and Liam. Beautiful traps. Bridgers. That's a nice, very nice gift. I mean, that was a huge gift. Look at this. Pokeberries right in my face, ripe. I'm a carnivore, but you can't beat pokeberries for arthritis. If you got arthritis, pokeberries, good medicine. You want to take 8 a day for 3 days, and you won't be hurting, at least not as much. Some people say it goes away completely. Some people have to stay on it longer. Almost everybody says it helps, but don't bite the seeds with your teeth. You can either spit them out, just swallow the juice, or you can swallow them whole. The seeds won't bust in your gut. But if you've had problems with arthritis and you're in such pain you can't hardly use your hands, it's worth the little bit of unpleasantness. As a matter of fact, they're kind of pleasant to eat, actually. They're just not real sweet. Let's go hang these up in the boys' shed. Oh, look at these big old pile of traps. That's about half of what's left. Let's see if I can get this untangled. And here's the last. Yay, yay, yay. Plenty of traps for trapping. I am tickled pink that my boys are able to involve themselves in it, enjoy it, and do it. I mean, it's just great. All right, got them all done, got them all black. They're hanging here, they're ready to go this fall, winter, whenever they decide they're ready to start trapping. I've got them set. All right, to close out the video, we'll talk about poison ivy. I kind of think that that black tannin water is helping. I'm not 100% sure, but the cedar definitely helps. I had to do it 2-3 times a day with that cedar smoke coming up through my fingers and hands, and it definitely helps. You smell like smoke for a while. Right now I just smell like tannin water. That's interesting. I'll have to do more investigation about the tannin water. Does that dry it up? I don't know, but the cedar smoke did not seem to affect me quite as well as it did the time that I made the video about it. It's not actually knocking it out in a couple days like it did then. So I'm still having to fight it. Possibly because it's 93, 95 degrees in the day and pretty hot. Fairly hot, fairly humid. And that's really bad if you've got poison ivy. That's real bad. So worst come to worst, I'll just send my doctor a text and he can get me a prescription for something to take. I don't know what he would suggest at this point. Back in the day I took the prednisone, but we'll see. I think I can manage it, but we'll see. It gets kind of unruly at times. This morning it got me up at 3 a.m. I was building me a fire and getting my hands over that. So some people just don't like that kind of lifestyle. I don't either, but you got to do what you got to do to survive. And if it's driving you crazy, a little cedar smoke from them green cedar limbs definitely helps. So hope that helps you. Hope you enjoyed the video. It's time to get traps blackened. If you're a trapper, go ahead and get that done ASAP. But that's all we got for you today. Hope you have a great day. We'll see you on the next video.